So what do you do all day?
What do you do all day?
What do you do all day? What do you do all day when you are an unschooler? Well, pardon me, my memory might not be perfect. I am 25 now, so I can't really tell you what I did every single day when I was between the ages of 0 and 18 when I was being unschooled. But I'll do my best to let you know, as far as I can remember, what filled my days as an unschooler. And it's a lot, so this video might get a little long. Okay, so I played violin. I had a weekly violin lesson. I also had a weekly ensemble for violin. I was in 2 orchestras, so I had rehearsals twice a week for those. I was in a youth choir. I had rehearsal once a week for that. I was in a youth improv troupe. I had meetings once a week for that. I was a dancer. I had dance twice a week, and I taught dance once a week starting when I was, I think, 11 or 12. I volunteered at a daycare once a week for special needs children, starting when I was, again, 11 or 12. So that was once a week. I rode horses. I lived on a horse farm, and that's a full-time job in itself, honestly. I had 2 horses that I had to keep in shape by riding every day, and I had weekly lessons, and I was also in a club for horseback riders, and we met once a week or once every 2 weeks. So I also did national competitions on horseback, so my summers were full of traveling around to different states and doing horse competitions. Oh my gosh, I started a club for authors when I was really young, like maybe 7 or 8, and we would meet once a week, my friends and I, and we would discuss things that we'd written and give each other critique and feedback on them. I did all-state orchestra when I was high school age, 14 to 18 for 4 years. That's a week-long thing where you get together with a bunch of orchestra kids and you play music for a week. It's really fun. So I would do that in the spring, horseback competitions all during the summer. I'd be in plays in the local community theater and dance performances through my dance studio. So those were my extracurricular activities, and as you can imagine, they took up quite a bit of time. I also started my first job when I was 16, first 2 jobs, a history of me performing multiple jobs throughout my life. I was a diner at a waitress, and I was a telemarketer, please don't hate me. You know, it paid like $10 an hour, which to a 16-year-old in Kentucky is amazing, so I had to do it. So I started that when I was 16, so I was really busy all the time. As far as other learning activities that I did, I read so many books. When I was accepted to college, they actually told me that they accepted me on the basis of my book list alone because it was so extensive, and I read about everything. I read fiction, nonfiction, history, blah, 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 blah. My dad built our house, and when he asked me what I wanted, well, first I said a stage, and then I said I wanted a library, and I got a little library with shelves, you know, that reached the ceiling full of books, and that was my favorite place to spend the day, just sitting on my beanbag chair, my little lamp on my little crate in my library. So I read a lot. I wrote a lot. I really wanted to be an author when I was a kid. I had several novel-length books, like 300, 400-page works, you know, not published or anything, but for my own enjoyment. By the time I was maybe 11 or 12, I loved to write. And I helped out on the farm. We had a farm, so that was a big thing to do. During the day, I had to, you know, take care of the property and take care of the animals and whatnot. I was really into nature. I was really disappointed in the Girl Scouts, honestly. I felt they did not teach you enough cool stuff. So I kind of became my own like Boy Scout, and I was really into reading. There's this great book called The Tracker, and I got really interested in tracking and wilderness survival techniques. So I learned a lot about that. My parents actually let me go for a 3-day hike where I just brought along a bottle of water and I foraged for food. I like lived off of roots and berries and nuts and stuff that I found while walking through the forest, and built my own shelters at night and lit my own fires so that I could cook stuff, which was really fun. And I researched on how to like distill water, and so I brought along stuff to distill water with, and after I ran out of my bottle, I distilled creek water. So I was really into that for a while. I was really into history for a while, so I would record news segments. My brother and I made that kind of like we made that a weekly thing for a little while, where we each got to kind of showcase our talents and what we learned that week. So I would do, like the history report, and I would make up a little presentation about whatever I learned about in history that week. And he was the meteorologist, and he actually like built a little thing where he could, do these very inaccurate predictions of weather forecasts. And so he would do the weather and sports. I would do like arts and culture watch, and we would both do a little news segment on current events. And that was not something our parents told us to do. We just thought that it would be really fun to make our own news segment. And so we did that for a few weeks. It was really fun. So yeah, that is what I did all day, combined with, being a kid and having friends and going to slumber parties. And when you're a teenager, driving around the mall in circles, or going to Steak and Shake at midnight, whatever teenagers think is a fun thing to do. So yeah, that's a day in the life of unschooled Kennedy. Thanks.